when Cameron was in Egypt's land. Let my Cameron go.
Hello, it's Nathan. Thanks for stopping by. We're doing this evening a little tobacco Royale. And so in my hand, in my little corn cob taster here, which looks extremely dwarfed in my meaty paws, is Sutliff's crumble cake Virginia Perique. And this is a blend that I really enjoy. It's nice and peppery. I did a first impressions of it a few weeks back, I think. And I found out it has some Cavendish in there. Which I think lightens the Perique a bit. But it doesn't do much else other than that, so it's definitely one of those things where there's probably enough Perique in here that really just, without the Cavendish, might just drive this a bit harder, which I'd be fine with. I enjoy heavy Perique blends. But this is good. It's got a nice natural sweetness from the Virginias, and toasty. Yeah. Again, it's a blend I would definitely recommend for any who can get it. Alright, now to cleanse the palate. With a bit of water. Now, in this cup, I have Rattrays Marlin Flake, which has the same components: Virginia, Perique, and Cavendish. So, yeah, it makes for an interesting comparison. This burns slower, so it burns cooler. So I'll put a picture up here, hopefully if I remember, that shows you the difference between the two. On the top of the picture, you'll see Marlin Flake has it comes in just 3 long strips, and they're fairly beefy, and they're not terribly easy to rub out and break down. But I think the pressing really adds to the richness of the blend. Where crumble cake, you can see in the bottom of the picture that it just comes in just 3 large chunky crumble cakes, and it's very easy to break apart. But this Marlin Flake it really adds a richness to it. And what's interesting is when I first had Marlin Flake, I wasn't terribly impressed with it. I was somewhat disappointed with how it was turning out. And then I tried it in a different pipe. I think it was in my Savinelli 614. And that specific pipe really impressed me. And so I think it's one of those blends where the curved pipe, rather than I think the first time I had it was in my Bing's favorite, and then the second time I'd had it was in another straight billiard style pipe, and it didn't work out. I stuck it in the 614, and it was just fabulous. Now here you'd think it'd be back to the trail end, the bad side. Oh, come on. There you go. So, the difference between the two, Rattrays, Marlin Flake, a bit sweeter. I think there's a larger component to the Cavendish in this one. And I don't think they add the same amount of Perique. I think it's less Perique in this, and that's going to be my assumption. Someone can contradict me if they'd like, but there's a bigger element of sweetness in this than there is, at least from the Cavendish, than there is in Sutliff's blend. Mm. But they both taste good. There's an element that I'm getting out of the Marlin Flake now. It's kind of got an interesting little tang mid-tongue that I wasn't expecting. That's interesting. I don't think I got that in previous times that I've tried this blend. Yeah. So when it comes down to it, it's an interesting comparison between the two, because they both have the same elements. They're both processed differently, which I think is why I wanted to do this on a Tobacco Royale. It just made everything, that processing made it a little interesting for me to think about. Ultimately, in the end, I tend to favor the Sutliff blend. I like that peppery element a little bit more. There's still some element to the Marlin Flake that doesn't quite settle with me. And it's not that it's not necessarily an enjoyable blend, but I think for me, it's a specific blend that I have to have with that specific pipe, for whatever reason that is. I would not even be able to fathom to tell you. Because in that, it's a very good blend. But with the straight, and with not much of a stem, I'm just not getting that same jive as it's going through. But that Sutliff, the crumble cake, is very good, and there's that natural sweetness. I think the Virginias that Sutliff use in that blend, along with the Cavendish, just really enrich the flavors a little bit more in the direction that I tend to like. So, and as anything else with our hobby, your mileage will vary, and if it doesn't, I'd be surprised. But again, Marlin Flake, a lot of people like it, and for good reason. I mean, undoubtedly, as I'm sitting there smoking it, it's the quality of it. There's just an element of the process. It's a good quality tobacco. There's nothing skimpy about it. It just so happens that the blend isn't just for me. I'll continue to enjoy it every now and again, but it's not going to be something I reach for terribly often. So Sutliff for me wins pretty handily. That's all right. It's a very good crumble cake, and I think that if you like Virginia Periques, I think you'll really like that. And that was one of those things that I kind of steered away from Cavendish elements for a while. But then I've discovered that there are a few blends that I've had that Cavendish is actually does the blend pretty nicely. So anyway, that's my Tobacco Royale for this. So hope you enjoyed it. If you've got ideas for something you'd like me to try and do a Tobacco Royale, providing I already have the blends, kind of give some thoughts to that, because it'd be fun to get some contributions from that. And if you've tried both of these blends, let me know what you think below. It's a good thing to share in the hobby, and that might even trigger me next time I try Marlin Flake or the Virginia Perique here. That might trigger my thoughts in that direction. So, yeah, there you go. Those are my thoughts. So, count your blessings. Be thankful for them. And when all that's said and done, grace and peace to you.